If you guys want to be in with a chance of winning 100,000 coins on Ultimate Team in my October giveaway, all you need to do is leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. Best of luck and enjoy the video. Hey guys, it's Way here, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to bring you guys the ultimate trading and investing guide for the October Premier League Player of the Month. In this video, I'm going to cover my predictions for the two players who are most likely to win the award, and then I'll cover all the investments for both of those players that will make you guys loads and loads of profit if you pick them up. So if you guys have enjoyed the video, if you do, don't forget to leave a like on it, subscribe if you're new around here, and without further ado, let's go on into it. Starting off with the predictions, we've got the favourite for October Player of the Month, and that is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The Arsenal forward is the top scorer from October with 5 goals. He's also picked up an assist along the way in the 3 games he's played, and his side have been unbeaten throughout the month, picking up 2 wins and 1 draw. He's also managed to get 2 Man of the Match awards throughout those 3 games, and overall, I believe he's the favourite. He's got a total of 6 goal involvements, and he's by far the top scorer from the month. However, he does have a contender, and that is Barkley. He's scored 2 goals from midfield, which is pretty good, and he's also got 3 assists. He has also got 2 Man of the Match awards, and Chelsea have also won 2 games and drawn 1. So very similar, but if you look at the stats, Aubameyang has got more total goal involvements with 6 compared to 5. And he's scored a lot more goals, and typically you see this going more towards goal scorers rather than creators. It's generally the forwards that win Player of the Month, especially the big name players, and Aubameyang, I think most of us will probably agree, is a bigger name player than Barkley. I think they've both had very, very good months, and you could justify either of them winning, but I personally think Aubameyang is going to be the player who wins October Player of the Month. So we're going to start off with some general Player of the Month investments, and these will cover you no matter who wins the award, and I'd recommend getting just a couple of these cards and storing them in your club. Now, I know I said Aubameyang's the favourite for this, but that shouldn't stop you investing for both players. I'll be showing you guys those more specific investments in just a moment. But these cards say you're typically looking at high-rated Premier League players, anywhere from 81, 82 up to maybe 85 or 86, and some Premier League informs as well. Shane Duffy from the current team of the week is an ideal investment. You can get him for around 11,000 coins, a very, very good one there. You've got Mitrovic from last week, who was also very, very cheap, and looking at some more expensive high-rated cards, you've got someone like Bernardo Silva. You've also got Granit Xhaka, Petr Cech, and plenty of others, but typically just look for kind of 84s, 83s, those types of cards that will be good for a higher rated SBC. And if you can find maybe cards from Arsenal, the team Aubameyang plays for, or Chelsea, obviously the side that Barkley plays for, or English players as well, because obviously that's the nation of Barkley, you're going to be covering multiple options, and they're going to be some really good investments. You can also just get some high rated players in general that aren't necessarily from the Premier League, 87s, 86s, 85s, all that, and you can't really go wrong there. And then just get some special cards, a variety of different types, because you never know, they may throw in a random SBC that potentially requires 1 or 2 ones to watch cards, maybe some Ultimate Scream cards, as of right now we haven't had an SBC that requires these. We may even need some Champions League cards, you never know, so it's worth just covering a few different options there and picking up some special cards if you guys have the coins. But I think the safest ones to get are cards that cover multiple options. So someone like Socrates, he's a high rated Premier League player and he plays for Arsenal. Jorginho, he's a high rated Premier League player and he also plays for Chelsea, the same club as Barkley. You've got people like Gary Cahill, for example, who covers loads of options because he's a Chelsea player, quite high rated in the Premier League and English. So again, covering loads of options. They're the best ones, but I'd recommend just getting some safe investments like this that will cover you no matter who wins Premier League Player of the Month. And these are the types of cards that you can keep in your club and wait until the SBC is released, and you can then sell them then, because we're pretty much guaranteed to require high rated Premier League cards whatever the SBC is, really, because it is the Premier League Player of the Month, so we always need high rated Premier League cards. Now moving on to some more player specific investments, we're going to be looking at the favourite Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and you've got 2 many options you want to cover, and that is his club Arsenal and his nation, which is Gabon. Now I'm not 100% sure whether or not we'll need Gabonese players, as he is going to be a very high rated and expensive card, so you're probably not going to need silver cards. However, it's worth investing in some of the higher rated ones and selling them in the hype. Now you guys can expect this Player of the Month SBC to come out around about the 8th of November. That is going to be the first Friday, and that is when you typically see Player of the Month release. So you want to sell these cards maybe 1 or 2 days before, and they'll have probably risen up a good amount in value. I think looking at Arsenal players is a very, very safe investment, and if you get high rated cards from Arsenal, you're covering the options as well from just having a high rated Premier League side, so that will cover you no matter who wins. So people like Mkhitaryan, Ramsey, Koscielny, Socrates, Cech, Ozil, and loads of other players are very sound investments. I think Socrates is possibly the best investment you guys can maybe make for Player of the Month, just because he covers loads and loads of different options. Now you also want to cover some of the previous clubs that he's played for, and maybe even get Aubameyang himself. As of right now, we haven't had any Player of the Month SBCs that require the player themselves. However, last last year, we saw quite a few of them where you needed the actual player to trade in. I think we haven't seen these early on in the game just because people haven't packed loads and loads of these cards, so they're a little bit rarer on the market. But now, with the game having been out for a couple of months, there's going to be more Aubameyangs on the market, so it could actually be justifiable for EA to potentially require Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang himself in the SBC. If you guys do invest in him, I would 100% recommend that you sell him in the hype, because if he's not required, he's going to drop down significantly in price. You'd also definitely want to pick up a couple of different cards from teams he's played for in the past. Just get some of the higher rated gold cards. He's played for AC Milan. He's played for Borussia Dortmund, which was the club he was at obviously before Arsenal. He's played briefly at Monaco as well, and Saint-Etienne, and Lille, and also this team right here, which I believe is Dijon. So he's played for all these teams here. Short spells at the majority of them, apart from Lille and Dortmund, I believe, but still worth covering these routes and just getting 1 or 2 cards from each of these teams. Just get some of the higher rated gold cards that aren't too expensive. And with these guys there, you can maybe get a few and sell the majority in the hype beforehand and keep 1 or 2 in your club in case they are required, and they've got a good chance of going up in price. And then finally for Aubameyang, I'd recommend covering the different sides that he's played and scored against throughout the month. So Crystal Palace players, you've got people like Zaha, Guaita the goalkeeper, Sacco. From Fulham, you've got loads and loads of different players. Fabricio, you've got Kearney, Schürrle, lots of options. And then from Leicester, the likes of Harry Maguire, Ricardo Pereira, you've got Schmeichel as well. Loads and loads of options. And getting someone like Maguire or maybe Schmeichel, one of those higher rated cards from the Premier League, you're obviously covering the potential of having a high rated Premier League squad as well. Now next up, we've got some more specific investments for Ross Barkley. Now I know I said Aubameyang's the favourite for player of the month, but don't let that put you off investing for Barkley as well, because you guys can just keep some of these cards and then you can sell them before player of the month is announced. So you can sell them maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Or you could also just keep some of these cards that cover multiple options, and then no matter who wins the award, you will make yourself profit. So you want to again start off by covering the club and nation option. So obviously he plays for Chelsea. The good thing about these cards is they're high rated Premier League cards, as well as obviously playing for Chelsea. So no matter who wins, you're covered there. Morata's great, Fabregas is great. All these types of players here are very, very good. And then looking at England, you've got the likes of Maguire, Trippier, Henderson. Just these kind of like 80 to 82, 83 rated cards are ideal. And I think the ones I pick out as the best investments here would be Harry Maguire, because he's a high-rated English card, also quite a high-rated Premier League card, and he plays for Leicester, which is one of the sides Aubameyang scored against throughout the month, and for that reason, he's very likely to be required no matter who wins. And then Trippier, I think, is also a brilliant investment, because he is the highest-rated affordable right-back in the Premier League. No one's going to use Kyle Walker or Valencia in an SBC, but if you're looking for someone who's also high rated like them but isn't really expensive, Trippier is your go-to option. So I think he's got the potential to maybe go up to like 5 or 6k from the quite low price he's currently at. And then you also want to cover the previous clubs for Barkley, the main one of which is Everton. And if you get the likes of Pickford, Sigurdsson, Idrissa Gana Gueye, all these types of players, they're also high rated Premier League players, so you're covered for that as well. And he also did play briefly, he went on loan to Leeds and also to Sheffield Wednesday, so you can get a few gold cards from them. I think they have a couple. I think Leeds maybe have 4 gold players, and then you've got this one here and some silvers for Sheffield Wednesday. So it's always worth just getting a handful of these cards, selling the majority in the hype before the SBC is released, and keeping 1 or 2 in your club just in case. And then it's also worth covering the different sides that he's performed well against throughout the month. So he played Burnley, so you can get some high rated cards like Heaton and Defoe, just a few examples there. You can get some United players, Mata and Lingard, again just 2 examples, and again 2 high rated Premier League cards, so you're covering multiple options. And then we've got Vestergaard, you've got people like El Yanusi and Bertrand as well from Southampton, another side he played against. So you've got loads and loads of good investments there, and what I'd recommend doing is, if you're not going to get everyone here, which you don't need to, just trying to cherry pick the very best investments and look for cards that cover lots of different options. So someone like Mata, a high rated Premier League player, plays for Man United, which is one of the sides that obviously Barkley has played against throughout the month and scored against. He got a late minute equaliser against them right at the end of the game. You've also got someone like Maguire, who I've already mentioned, Trippier, who I've mentioned, and other players in the previous squad for Aubameyang that I also covered. So they're the types of players you want to look out for. If you want to maybe mass invest in someone, look possibly at Socrates or maybe Shane Duffy or Trippier, one of those types of players, and you can get a lot of them. But if you just want to cover a wide variety of different options, get some of the cards I've shown you here, store them in your club. If you want to make safe profit, you can sell these cards on Thursday evening after rewards, when cards typically go up in price, and you'll be able to sell them there for some good profit without having to potentially worry about the cards not being required in the SBC and dropping in price. So yeah, very, very simple investment, and I think you guys have got a decent amount of time, around about 10 days or so before the SBC starts. So try and get your investments as early as possible, get them at good prices, maybe bidding and sniping, and that way you'll be able to maximize your coins when Premier League Player of the Month is announced. Now, I think EA will go ahead and release the shortlist for the award in the next couple of days. I always try and get these videos out before then, just because once that is released, player prices rise up a little bit, and there's only really 2 players who are likely to win, and that is Barkley and Aubameyang. But let me know down below who you think's most likely to win. Let me know who you're going to be investing in, and if you guys did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you later. Take care.